Hey, what's up? Seventyne here, taking a look at the action RPG Stories: The Path of Destinies, developed by Spearhead Games, the same guys behind co-op puzzle game Tiny Brains and the MOBA Arena Cyber Evolution. Stories has two extremely powerful armies wreaking havoc across the lands, and with no end to the war in sight and the possible annihilation of both sides, it's the pirate fox Reynardo that is tasked with bringing peace to the world. The story of the game is delivered by a narrator accompanied by these ink-drawn pages of a book that set the scene while also providing narration over the actual gameplay in a similar fashion to the way Bastion or the more recent Stanley's Parable is done. Once the setup for the scene has been completed, you'll be given a choice, a decision of which mission out of the two available you want to pursue, a recurring choice that is made throughout the game. These decisions are extremely important to the storyline and have serious repercussions, intertwining with each other. One of the decisions having you to decide between saving your best friend from captivity or retrieving part of a weapon that could stop the war and bring peace. Your decision won't only affect the storyline, but also the actual level and the extra mechanics that you'll be able to play around with, like robot guards in one path and the ability to build a sword in another. The enemy encounters, however, seem to be very similar, at least while introducing some of the new enemy types. The gameplay of Stories has you, Reynardo, a sword-wielding fox, travelling across the country attempting to bring peace between the two armies. Your sword is your most important weapon while travelling and fighting off the various aggressive creatures out in the wild. While you only start off with a very basic sword, it can be upgraded via crafting stations found around the world, giving your swords unique abilities like creating an AoE fire blast or healing yourself with each hit. These abilities do have to be activated though, and while they're activated they do use up energy, so you can't just leave them on forever as that would be extremely overpowered. When you're just using the sword normally, you'll only have one type of swing available to you, no heavy or light swings, with the fanciness that you're seeing on screen being mostly tied to multiple hit combo animations. However, you do have a couple of extra combat capabilities in the form of an electrical whip that can pull enemies closer to you, and lastly a dash ability which feels very similar to the dashing ability you have while playing Ciri in The Witcher 3, allowing you to dodge some of the attacks coming your way or just to close some distance. The combat works very similar to the typical Batman setup too, locking onto certain enemies for attacks, sometimes sending you flying across the screen to attack someone on the other side. When the enemy attacks, there is the typical exclamation mark above their head telegraphing their attack quite obviously, allowing you to try and dodge or counter-attack them before it hits. Outside of combat, there is a fair amount of adventuring that you can do by exploring your environment instead of just rushing through for the objective. By doing so, you will discover various crafting materials to make better swords, as well as health and energy pickups to aid you in your journey. There are also these locked doors though that will lead you to some supplemental information about the world and more. However, being locked doors, you will need the key being one of the swords you're carrying around, or perhaps ones you haven't yet crafted. Crafting a new weapon is fairly simple though, but will require a fair amount of resources to be gathered, encouraging you to explore every last inch of the level for them. The main resource shared between all of the weapons being ore, but each sword also has a rarer elemental shard that is needed to be able to craft each specific weapon. There are quite a few crafting benches found around the world, so once you do accumulate all the resources needed, it shouldn't be hard to find one and craft your new weapon. Other RPG mechanics include skill progression through 7 different skill trees that can upgrade Reynardo with abilities like being able to stab an enemy being pulled in by your electrical whip, or being able to deal more damage by attacking an enemy consecutively at the right time. There are also some gems that can be collected and equipped that will give some bonuses like extra attack speed or critical hit chance. You can only have 3 of these gems equipped at the one time. Altogether, Stories: The Path of Destinies offers an interesting storyline mechanic that has you choosing which path to take, with each path not taken having serious consequences. The combat is a slightly lesser version of that seen in the Arkham games, but still maintains fluidity along with some nice weapon abilities. If you're someone that likes to explore environments, there's plenty of that too, revealing lore about the game's world that would have otherwise been bypassed. If you're looking for a Bastion-like action RPG, then Stories: The Path of Destinies is definitely worth a look. Anyway, that's been my player preview for Stories: The Path of Destinies. The game will be officially releasing on both PC and PlayStation 4 early sometime in 2016. If you want to find out more about the game, check out the links below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.